Hey garden friends, welcome on back. Today we are going to talk about dollar store seeds. Are they really worth it? Even though they're cheap, do they work? So let's talk about that. Yeah, I had a few comments, not a few, I had two comments on my Dollar Tree budget gardening finds video and saying the Dollar Tree seeds did not work for them. This American seed company seeds. As I said before, you can find them at Dollar Tree, Dollar General. I've bought them before, and they said they had no success with them. But on the flip side, I also had a few commenters say they worked just fine for them. Now, going from my own experience in the past, they have worked just fine. They've germinated great. I had a whole slew of coleus one year, all different colors, that I grew from a packet of dollar store seeds. I had oversown, that's why I had so many, because I thought, they're not going to germinate very well. And lo and behold, they did beautifully, much better than I anticipated. But you know, like with the potting soil that I often mentioned that I purchased and loved and bought because it was such good quality, sometimes things can, or companies can lower their quality, and all of a sudden you're wondering, why isn't this working for me? And like I said, that happened to me. And then it took someone else pointing it out to me, the downside of that potting mix, which prior to that had worked beautifully, and what they had changed something, and then it no longer worked like it did. So maybe the same with Dollar Tree seeds. Maybe 2 years later, they have diminished in quality to the point that they won't work. So let's test it. Now, today, I'm going to do two different packages of seeds. Lettuce, the lettuce seeds, which somebody said it grew really well for them and they loved it. Grand Rapids, and then these Sweet Williams. Because I didn't want to do the real tiny seeds, because I wanted to do 1 or 2 seeds per slot. These are just some recycled containers. And yeah, I'm going to use these. I've got them scrubbed up, ready to roll. And I have sieved some compost. Let me put you down a little bit so you can see better. Okay, I think you can see now, yes. Alrighty, so containers, 2 recycled 6-packs. Now this is a way I save money in my gardening seed starting, is I recycle these. These ones are pretty good, sturdy. Some of them just about shred when you take the plants out of them, but these ones were sturdy ones, and that's why I went ahead and kept them. And then I had a container that I recycled. Now I love trays, sowing seeds in trays like this, and then pricking them out when they need to be potted up. But that isn't for today. We are going to test run these seeds in these containers. Now, it's a little bit early for me to be starting lettuce, but the way things have been going, I could probably put these out in my bespoke greenhouse to continue growing, and I shouldn't be a problem. But you know, when you're paying $1.25 for 4 packets of seeds, you know, and there's several seeds in here, a lot, then it's no big deal if I lose these. You know what I mean? It's not a big hit on the budget. Now, one viewer had said the American seeds were trash, worthless. Spend a few more pennies and get a quality seed. Now, 4 packets for $1.25. Figure out the math for that. There is at least 100 seeds in here, if not more. So we'll go over to a packet of seeds from someone else. Let me see if this price is not on these. So we'll go with this one. So this one is $1.39, and that was a couple of years ago. Now they're like $3. So 1 packet of seed, $3. There's a huge difference in price. It's not a few pennies, it's dollars. So if you are on a super tight budget, and I get it, I've been there, then those few pennies is a lot more than that. It means a lot more than that. Now this is for their super budget minded, and you want to get the most bang for your buck, and 4 packets for $1.25 may be all you can afford right now, and that's okay. You can do this. So let's test. Even if you only got 50% germination rate, you're still money ahead. So I will sieve this out. I want to show you my sieve. This is my compost sifter. Now, why I got this one for sieving the sticks and stuff out of compost. So you see all these wood chips? Is because this rim, it fits on top of a 5-gallon bucket. And if you're sieving like compost that you made, this really helps. You sit this on top of the bucket, and then you can stir it with your shovel and whatever, and all the good stuff goes through, the light, fine stuff, and then the sticks and what have you stay here, and you can dump it in your composter or whatever. I'm putting it down in my bucket that I have down here for my composter. So this has already been amended, so to speak, with extra perlite. Sometimes I put green sand in it. It's what people use when they're soil blocking. And it just adds a little bit of nutrients that's good for it. It's totally optional, but I had it on hand because I was going to try soil blocking, and I didn't like it. This little blocks dried out too quick. They took more maintenance than putting them in recycled containers like this. So for me, soil blocking wasn't really an option, and I don't do that many seedlings that it really ended up being worth the cost. Like the presser machine and gadget and all of the ingredients that they recommend, it just was more of a hassle than a benefit for me. So let's get rolling. I am going to fill this 6-pack container with this sieved material. And now mostly this is the turkey compost that I buy in bulk. And then I added some perlite to make it drain better. And then a little bit of green sand that I poured in there. So there's one 6-pack. Now you notice I do it dry. I don't pre-moisten it. I have found that makes it much harder to fill the containers. You're not always sure if you've gotten all the air pockets out. When it's dry like this, there are no air pockets to speak of. And yeah, it's just so much simpler. Pre-wetting, yeah, it's not necessary. So let's start with the lettuce. I am going to do 2 seeds per cell. Guess it looks like I could use a little more. And that way, if I get 2 lettuces in there, fine. If not, we'll see. So when I sowed the coleus seeds, I just pick them up with my fingernail. See, like this. When I'm watching myself rather than the camera, I can see what I'm doing better. Okay. 1, I'm just going to do them kitty corner from each other. 2. And all is good. So that means I'll sow 12 seeds because there's 6 cells. Now these are not going to be winter sown or left outdoors. These are going to go in my house on my light rack where I have LED lights set up. I have had my set up for like 15 years. And so, yeah, the rack I got at Costco. It's one of those industrial metal racks. And yeah, I still got tons of seeds here for later. So typically with any packet of seeds, you expect a germination rate of about 80%. Even the high quality seeds you buy from others. Like I love Swallowtail Garden seeds. I love Renee's Garden seeds, Botanical Interests. What else? Who else? Select Seeds. I've gotten seeds from them. Even from them. So let me see, I'm trying to see. So directly, plant seeds every 2 inches, cover firmly with soil. It doesn't say how deep, but usually 1/8 of an inch. This says 1/4 of an inch, so that's more. So this is when I use this colander to sift a fine layer over top of the seeds. And you can press them in Firm contact with the soil is one of the most important things when you're sowing seeds. So this one, the last ones I did was only 1/8 of an inch. So this one I've got to do it for a little bit more. And all this does is just put a fine layer over it. And I probably didn't even have to do this. So that's a good portion of it. And I'm just going to get it off the little center pieces or the little ribs here. Again, I'm going to push it down and firm it in there. I need something with a flat. Here it is. This is a tool that a friend made for me from a stair rail. Now I'm firming this down very, very well. And then I learned this from Rosie Hardy Gardening. She has a YouTube channel, love it. Cork. You can put a fine layer of cork on top and that combats fungus or mildew problems. And I ordered it, found it on Etsy. It actually came out of Portugal, but it wasn't too badly priced. Now, normally, a lot of times I use vermiculite. Sometimes I just use the soil. But I thought I'd give this a try and see. I've never really had a lot of issues with the mildew or mold on top. The only time I did is when I had used some neem meal in the soil because I thought it would combat the fungus gnats. And it probably would have, but it's the mildew that it created on top of the soil was really bad. So I thought, nope, that's not going to work for me. It might work for others, but it didn't work for me. So I'm just putting it on there, pressing it down. All is good. Now I do want to mention something. When you're handling seeds, you want to make sure that you don't have lotions or something on your hands, because that can actually hinder germination of your seeds. I don't remember where I read that, but I thought, that makes sense. Okay, so there's the lettuce. I'm going to get a tag. And I finally got in my pens. So I got in my markers. These are Sharpies, but they're called Sharpie Extreme. And these are what I use to mark on my winter sowing containers. I told you about them last time, but I didn't have them in yet. So they just came in, my new ones. So I'm going to put Grand Rapids lettuce on here. Let me see if I got a bare spot. Okay. So I'll put that right there. And then I'm going to set this over in the tray. I have a tray of water sitting over on the counter here where I set my winter sowing containers to soak up the water to get this moistened. Now I could just do this indoors, but I thought give it a head start. And I'm going to do the same with the Sweet Williams. I thought to do 2 different types of seeds because then you might get an indication of maybe different seeds will germinate better than others as far as with this company. Now, like I said, the ones before that I used from the American Seed Company, from Dollar Tree or Dollar General, were zinnias, coleus. I did marigolds. Can't remember all of them that I did, but they all germinated just fine. So I had no issues. You know what? I do have zinnias in there. I should do some zinnias too. It's a little early for me to start zinnias. Now, starting seeds, no matter what seeds, it doesn't matter your zone. What matters is your last frost date. And that tells you when you could possibly put them out. Meaning if the package says to sow them indoors, start seeds indoors 6 to 8 weeks before your last frost date, then of course you choose when to start seeds by your typical last frost date. Now for me this year, I think it's going to be a weird year. We haven't really had much winter. Like today it was 51 degrees. At night it gets down to 32. And this next week it's going to get down into the 20s at night. But the daytimes have been sunny. And 51 degrees is very warm. Many times we could be, just stay in the 30s all day and have deep, deep snow. So, yeah, it's kind of very strange. So who knows when our last frost date's going to be. For us, even though I'm a zone 8, Many times our last frost date is the third weekend or after of May. Now, many other garden zones, lower, 5, 6, 7, their last frost date will be April. And so it's 6 weeks before mine. And so you cannot start seeds based on your zone. It is on your last frost date. And so just remember that. I see so many YouTube gardeners saying, oh, in zones 4, 5, and 8 or what, you can sow these seeds now. Start these seeds now in January. Then there's ones in February. It's not your zone. I can't emphasize that enough. This one is 1/8 of an inch. So I'm going to put these over here. First, I'm going to push these down into this soil. So the zones really only tell you one thing, and that's what perennials will live through your winters. Trees, shrubs, which ones are hardy in your zone, in your area. So the rest of it, like when to start seeds, winter sowing, the zone has nothing to do with it. Unless you're in a hot zone like 10, and then winter sowing is kind of almost pointless because you need the cold, super cold, like below 30s, below freezing, for some seeds to benefit from the winter sowing. You could sow in winter, but you could sow almost any plant in the winter in warmer areas like 10, where it doesn't get freezing, because that's the growing conditions are good. It's like sowing in spring for a lot of us, or even sowing, like I prefer to sow my zinnias directly in the garden in June, because I have to do it June because the soil doesn't warm up enough, and they like soil temperatures of 65 and above. And we can have snow the last week of May. So you see where I'm coming from. And even then I have to be careful in June, because seeds started in cold soil that don't like it, they'll be weaker plants. They'll be more susceptible to bugs. They'll be more susceptible to diseases. A strong seedling will produce a strong plant. Weak, spindly seedlings, many times the plant will not be the most robust. And then you have issues with it all the time. And you think, man, my zinnias are terrible this year. Let me tell you, it's happened to me. So anyways, okay, these are the Sweet Williams. Another tag. I recycled tags. Now, someone said that they get the craft sticks at Dollar Tree, 100 for, I don't remember what it was, if it was $1.25. And I have tried wood sticks before. I mean, they've used them as the plant markers. But the ones I did got mildewy. So let me know if you tried that, the craft sticks. I think it's great because, you know, wood, you can mark it with pencil, then erase it and reuse it the next year. Yeah, but I did try it. I only tried it the one time, so maybe I'll try it again and see. I never know. I think I have a package of them in my cottage studio, Primrose Cottage, and I can just go ahead and try. Okay, so those were those two. Now I'm going to go ahead and try zinnias. These zinnias. And I won't take you along on it, but because you want me to see me do this again? Let me see how many seeds are in here. Now look, there's a pretty good amount of seeds in there. Can you see in there? You know? And I didn't do the math. Want me to do the math? I'll do the math right now. So, calculator. It should be pretty easy, but I don't do math in my head well. So 1.25 divided by 4 equals 31 cents a packet. And within a packet, you get a lot of seeds. So you can't beat that. So if you had 50% germination rate, so that would be 60 cents a packet, because then only half would be viable. But still, 60 cents a packet, as opposed to $3. You can see where this could be money saving. Now, you're limited in choices. Like, I would love like all of the pink zinnias, all pink in one package. But that's not how it comes. So if I get a yellow one, I'll just put it in a section of my garden that I have yellow flowers. And all is good. Or I can grow them in containers and plop them out in the area of the garden that I want them in the container, let them grow that and bloom all through the summer in the container, and then move it when I want to. So then you have movable color. So that, my friends, I will come back. Now let me see the germination time frame for these, so I know when I can come back to show you the results. Okay. Days to germinate, 5 to 10 on the lettuce, 5 to 10 on the Sweet Williams. I wonder if they put 5 to 10 on all of them. 5 to 10 to zinnias. It's pretty good. Usually 7 days is average for many seeds. There are some seeds that take almost 2 weeks, and you have to be really patient with them. But, so that, my friends, is I think all I had to say about it. I will bring you back in a week or two, maybe 2 weeks. Give them a little time to get going, and we'll see how it turned out. We'll see what kind of germination rate we got, and if the Dollar Tree store seeds really were worth it. So I hope to see you back. I have got other sewing to do and other garden chores to do. I'm going to bring you back, and we're going to look at what my rosemary starts have done. I started from cuttings a few weeks back. Many of them have taken root. We're going to pot them up, and I'll share with you how I create topiaries. So I know I've done this before, but I also will show you how I prune. Look at this. This is a lavender. It's kind of wild-haired, isn't it? But I'll prune this up too with you. So that's it, my friends. I will be back, and we'll see how this works. Alrighty. See you in my next video. Bye.